The Marriage Conversation. Discovering new pathways to intimacy in marriage. With your host, Dr. Stephen Frew.
When faced with grief, yours or others, what do you do? This is Stephen Frew. Welcome to the Marriage Conversation. If you have faced grief, you know how difficult words can be. We're in very unfamiliar territory, and our instincts to comfort, to say something wise, or to be helpful often run aground the sandbars of the situation. There are things we don't know, can't know, and that are simply beyond us. Grief is a state loaded with feelings. Anger, sorrow, frustration are all included in the state we call grief. And grief exists independently of ordinary social discourse. We can underestimate its power and resilience easily and somehow think we ought to be able to alleviate its symptoms. But grief is there, has a life of its own, and can intimidate us into anxious attempts at affecting its depth. I was just 30 years old, a house painter and divinity school graduate, lost between my lost dream of being in the ministry, a dream I abandoned after serving a church nearly 4 years and found I was relationally incompetent, and a very ordinary house painting business. As far as I could tell, the church had become a club, stagnant, irrelevant to ordinary people and their extraordinary struggles, absent in every area of life save the Sunday morning papers, as far as I could tell. But I had my own discoveries to make, didn't I? Married and the father of 2 beautiful girls, we were expecting our 3rd child, a son. The morning the doctor came out to the waiting room with the news that my son died of cord strangulation approximately an hour before birth, buckled my knees, vacated my heart, stomach, lungs, vocal cords, and left me gasping on the men's room floor. Once we were home, carrying the blankets and goodies we'd gathered for the occasion, I had to tell my daughters why Jeffrey was not coming home. We cried together, but had, of course, no idea what that empty bassinet would mean to us in the coming months. Friends stopped by, family called, awkwardly offering their words. Slowly I shifted from sorrow to anger. What are these words, I thought? What do they know or even care about what we are experiencing? Surely their intentions were good, but their words, framed in a lifetime of conservative Christian teaching, sounded empty to me and even insulting. Here's what they said. "He's in a better place now." "Better than with me?" I inwardly screamed. "God has his reasons," another cooed. What possible reason could God have for taking my son from me? I fumed. "You're being taught a lesson," one man said. "You disobeyed God when you left the ministry." I exploded at him. "I left the ministry because of folks like you, cold, judgmental, and stupid." Shaking with rage, frustration, and agonizing sorrow, I called a pastor I had met just one time several weeks earlier. I said, "You won't remember me. I visited your church several weeks ago." He said, "Oh, I do remember you. You're the house painter, aren't you?" I told him that my son died. He said, "I'll be right over." My wife was lying in bed when he came over. He said, "How are you?" and then went into the bedroom to sit by her. He didn't say anything all day, but sat there quietly reading. People came and went. My sad daughters played quietly in their room. My heart was broken. I alternated between feeling like screaming and curling up in a fetal position. Across the street from our home, police cars guarded the house of Sirhan Bishara Sirhan, killer of Robert Kennedy. Death, it seemed, was everywhere. Everything I ever learned about faith, every hour spent in studying Scripture, every insight I worked so hard to realize in psychotherapy, escaped me. Community became a hollow word, vacant and pointless, as the sun sank low in the sky, casting our bedroom in a rosy glow. The pastor, tall, lean, Abraham Lincoln and hush puppies, looked up from his book. "I better be going," he said. My wife, always mindful of her role as hostess, said, "I haven't made you anything to eat or drink. All I've done is lay here and cry." Pastor Lowell Fairley reached over, put his hand on her knee, looked at us both, and said, "God is crying too." 30 years later, those are the only words I recall from that time. What he taught me was this: grief doesn't need a lot of words. Eloquence, advice, cheerleading, they're all pointless in the face of profound loss. Presence and a deep integrity are what counts. This is Stephen Frew. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to The Marriage Conversation. For more free articles, recordings, and videos, please visit The Marriage Conversation at www.marriageconversation.com.